Now available in paperback and Kindle, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females like Instagram models and e-girls in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Get your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace in paperback and Kindle today. A middle school teacher in Texas decided to let everybody know he was a white supremacist by telling his students his race is superior. All images in this video are used under fair use of United States copyright law and are used in conjunction with my commentary.
Deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, which means I think my race is the superior one.
Oh,
Wait, no, let me finish.
So white is better than all.
No, let me finish. Let me
Go
finish.
ahead.
Hey.
I think everybody thinks that, they're just not honest about
Hey,
it.
I'm not racist though. I like all types of colors.
Did I say I don't like people?
People only think
Wait,
that.
so you said you are what? You are
You
racist?
saying you're like
You're
I think
racist?
everybody's a racist at that level.
No, you said you are racist.
I did. Yeah, I'm trying to be
Yes,
honest.
I'm racist.
No, I'm not saying it again. I've said it enough.
So you're
I
racist.
think I slightly told you something.
Now, in this video that went viral after a student posted it on social media, a white male junior high school teacher at Bowles Middle School in Pluggersville, Texas, decided to make a declaration about his race and its superiority. And in the video, this middle school teacher says deep down in his heart he is ethnocentric, which means he thinks his race is the superior one. And after making this statement, his students reacted by being shocked, and two of the black students I believe he was directing his statements at let him know how little respect they had for him. Now, I personally believe that the reason why this teacher made this statement was for two reasons. One, he made this statement because he saw that there were these two black students in his classroom, and he wanted to send a message to those black students about who was supposed to be the superior as related to race, and he wanted to burn this idea into their minds at an early age to let them know that they needed to yield to white supremacy. Now, the other reason why I believe that he made this statement openly in his class is because of the polarization of race going on all across this country ever since President Barack Obama was elected. Now, ever since the election of Barack Obama, many racists have been extremely upset about a black man being president, and after 8 years of Barack Obama and 4 years of Donald Trump, many white racists now feel emboldened to express their anti-black racism in public freely, and they feel like they can do this because they have been emboldened due to the environment created by the polarization under the Trump presidency, where many racists and white supremacists feel like they have an opportunity to go out here and express themselves openly the way that their grandfathers and great-grandfathers did during the dark days of Jim Crow. Because the statement made by this middle school teacher is the kind of racism that many white teachers participated in when they were working in public schools in predominantly black areas. And during that dark days of Jim Crow, oftentimes a racist white teacher would openly go out here and participate in their anti-black racism, letting black children know who is the so-called superior one in an effort to let these children know their place in the white supremacist social hierarchy. Because the only message that this teacher was making by making this statement was making an effort to let those black and non-black students know who is the so-called dominant in America, and let them know that if they are in this country, the white race is the superior race, and that everybody who is not white needs to submit to the authority of white people. And that's why he believes that his race is the superior one, and he wanted to mentally condition these children at a young age to believe that they needed to yield to the system of white supremacy. That is the direct message that this teacher was sending to his students And what he wanted to do was go out here and let these children know that they needed to submit to a white person, and that they needed to understand that white people are number one here in America. And if they don't understand this concept, they will be able to have to deal with the consequences, which are severe punishments under the terrorist system of white supremacy. Now, one smart student was out here and recorded this entire incident, and as he recorded this incident, he let it be broadcast to social media to let the world know what an anti-black racist this individual was, and to send a message as related to the culture inside of that public school. Because I believe that there was a culture of racism inside of this public school for many years, for this teacher to feel like that he could go out here and express himself so freely and cavalierly, because that's the thing that really troubles me about this whole incident, is how cavalier and nonchalant this teacher was about talking about how he was an ethnocentric and how he believed his race was a superior one, because I doubt he would feel like that if there was a culture that disciplined individuals like him in the past. And I believe the only way that this man wound up getting punished for this is because this video went viral, and people would be looking at this Texas school district, which basically I believe covered this individual and enabled his racism for many years. Because in the aftermath of this whole incident, this middle school teacher was placed on suspension. Then he was eventually fired, and I thank God that he is no longer a part of this middle school system to corrupt the minds of children when they are most vulnerable, because the most vulnerable age for a child is adolescence, and hearing a white supremacist statement like this at an age of adolescence can damage a child's mind, and it can damage a child's mind to the point where they feel like they can never accomplish anything because they will buy into the system of white supremacy, which makes them believe that they are second best. And that is the danger of having toxic teachers like this inside of of a public school system. And while they got rid of one teacher in that Bowles middle school system, I believe that there were many more, and I believe there were many more administrators who supported and enabled this individual, because again, for him to come into this classroom and be so cavalier and nonchalant about expressing his racism to a class full of students shows me that this man was never held accountable for his actions, and never held accountable because there was a culture of white supremacy that supported him in promoting these anti-black messages, and was promoting them possibly for years, and damaging and scarring the minds of young children. And this is what I saw in that video. And again, when I'm looking at that video, I look at the scars that are going to be put on these kids, because when you have a teacher, again, a person who is placed in the public trust to look out for children, and they're just openly participating in white supremacy, it really shows me how things have not really changed as related to the public school system ever since I graduated from it 30 years ago. Now, 30 years ago, when I was in the public school system, I ran into teachers like this who were extremely apathetic, had extremely bad attitudes, and were not afraid to go out here and participate in passive-aggressive racism, but a lot of times they participated in a passive-aggressive fashion because a lot of these teachers were frustrated about the state of their lives, and they didn't want to mess their lives up by going out here and getting into it too much with the black kids because they feared getting fired. But in today's society, a lot of these teachers are not really feeling that sense of fear as related to accountability, and that's why you have a teacher like this going out here feeling emboldened to go out here, and just sit here and openly tell a class he's a white supremacist, openly telling people it's okay for him to believe his race is a superior one, openly saying these kinds of things. And again, this is a very troubling turn as related to this country, because it shows we have a serious divide as related to race, and we have a serious divide as related to growing anti-black racism, and a whole lot of individuals who believe it's okay to go out here and talk and speak hate speech, because that's exactly what this is right here. We have an individual using hate speech, and again, openly saying this in a classroom and never feeling any semblance of accountability whatsoever, and feeling no sense of accountability because he possibly believes there are administrators who will sit there and support him. There are politicians who will sit here and support him under the so-called guise of free speech, but there's no free speech here. Again, while I support the First Amendment and speech that you don't like, this is speech that is destructive to children, destructive in a classroom environment, and is designed to, again, break a child's sense of self-worth and self-esteem, and is designed to go out here and make a child go out here and develop an inferiority complex. And this is what this teacher is doing as related to promoting white supremacy. And again, this type of statement right here is a very dangerous one to have in a classroom, and there's no place for this type of individual inside of a public school. And nobody wants to sit there and believe that that this individual deserves to be in a classroom. And he's sitting there saying, oh, I think everybody's racist at that level. And that's not the case at all. No, not everybody is a racist, because a racist is an individual who, again, has disdain for other people and believe that they are inferior. While there is a sense of something called black pride, there is respect for other people. But racism is saying that you are better than somebody else, not understanding that while you have value, other people have value. And again, this guy was openly participating in anti-black racism, and again, just out of line overall. But these are the kind of people who wind up in our public schools, in one of the most sensitive places, like a public junior high school, not understanding that a public junior high school is a place where children's identity is being shaped, where their identity is being molded, where their sense of values is coming into form. And when you go out here and have a guy like this in your school, they can, again, just destroy a child. And this is why I'm glad that this student had enough self-esteem and self-worth to record this individual. And after they recorded this individual, they let the world know what danger this individual was, and let him be held accountable for his actions. But I'm really thinking about, is there a culture there? Because that's the more dangerous thing for me, is this, if there's a toxic culture, because a toxic culture means that there are going to be more kids infected by this dysfunction. And again, when I looked at this whole case, again, it just took me back to the old days of the public school system here in New York, and the apathetic teachers I had to encounter, and the hostile environment that was created. And again, this is what we are 30 years later, after many years of reform. We're right back to the same type of individuals being brought back into the classroom, and these individuals are back in the classroom. And again, it just shows me how nothing really has changed in the 30 years since I've graduated high school. Now, this was a video requested by one of my viewers, and if you want to request a video, you can send a donation to the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box, and if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and many of my men's issues books, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find many of those books at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.